Well, hello there, and welcome. Today, I'll be talking about yet another window manager that I have recently decided to use, and this time it's DWM. Now, what is DWM? What is this window manager about? It's basically based around the idea of, being small, remaining small, and still being functional. So I believe it's written in C, by the way, and I think they're aiming to keep it at less than 2,000 lines of code of C, take note, at all times. And currently, I believe it, of course, does meet that goal. They do intend on keeping it that way as far as their thing is concerned. But this does bring uh, well, some unusual aspects to what you might be used to with window managers if you are not familiar with this. And basically, the big thing that's different in DWM to other titles is that you can't just, into config file and restore the desktop session and have a new config. Instead, you need to edit the actual source code. There's like a config file in the source code that you need to modify, and then you need to recompile the software first before you actually use it. And that is a bit of pain. It does make it a bit more complicated. And having to do that so many times over to see my new configs and stuff, it does get annoying. But it is not as bad as I expected it to be. And also, Gentoo makes it really easy. They have a folder, a file, where you can just go into config, and then you can just recompile it using Portage, and Portage will handle everything for you. So yeah, Gentoo makes it easy to do. It's a bit more manual with other stuff, although it's still an easy process. But yeah. In that case, let's just continue, I guess, and I'll go through my experiences. So here you can see my desktop, and it's very basic. I have wallpaper and I have a bar. It's very typical for me. So here I have workspaces, and I can click on these. I can also go with my keyboard, and then also there's a symbol there. It's T in this case. It's my layout symbol. I'll go through those later. Then there's like an empty area here. Actually, this is going to be where like a window title icon things show up. As stated in Qtile, or any other window matcher mostly. Then there's some symbols here. So this one is my network. So this is the network that's coming in. So it's received traffic, and then this is sent traffic. So traffic is outgoing. Here's some other symbols. So this is my CPU usage in percentage, like in average. And this is my CPU temperature in average again. And then here's my RAM usage. And here's my swap usage. You guys have made some swap symbol thing here. Then there's my roots. Here's my root partition storage capacity that's taken up in percentage. And here's my home partition in this percentage, how much is taken up. Then here's the time of the day, and then that's that. So now, how have I actually done everything of this? How did I actually go about doing this setup? So I'll go ahead and show how the config file works. So normally you would have something called config.h in DWM directory that you downloaded. But because I'm on Gen 2, I actually have this Portage file. If you go to Portage, there's a use flag if you enable it in the DWM called save configs. And if you do that, it will create this directory, or it's already there, but it's going to create this DWM directory, and then or this 11 WM directory, and in there you'll find DWM file. Then you can just edit this, and you can see this is the config file. So you can edit this if you want, and then you just recompile things. It doesn't take long. It takes like 10 to 20 seconds to compile again. It's not a long time to recompile on this computer at least, but like you do have to recompile every time you change something here. But going on this, you can see I have made some settings. So here you can see you can change the border size. By default, it's 1. I have it to 0 because I like borders. And there's like snapping. So this is basically if you make basically it's about how your windows snap. So into position, if you use like the floating layout and stuff. Let's see if it actually works on my yeah. So this if you start floating a window, it will snap to like edges and stuff. So that's what that's about. You can change the distance. I'll just keep the default because this works well for me. I don't have a problem with it. Then there's show bar, so do you want to hide the bar or show the bar? And now the stop bar thing. So basically, if you set this to 1, it will put the bar on the top, and if you set it to 0, it will put it at the bottom, as it says here in the comment. Then there's some fonts. I have set Liberation Mono, which is very standard for me, and size 10, so it will change like the font size in like taskbar and stuff. So if you want to make it bigger, you can change it. And once again, you change your D menu font. So I don't think this does anything in my config. I still need to, like get rid of a bunch of unneeded things in this config because for now I have only set to work. But there's a bunch of like, stuff like this I don't actually use anymore. So I'll be deleting this stuff later down the line. There are some colors. So color gray 1, you can see down here how they are assigned. So your bar foreground is normally like, this, and your background is like this. And yeah, you can see the assignments there. So you can see the colored gray 1, which is the background of the bar. You can see it's 2929, which way you show. Then you can see the gray 2, which is the border, which I don't think I use at all. So that's something, because I don't, once again, other thing I don't need in here. Then there's C0, this text thing. You can see the foreground, which means text. And then you can see there's some other ones here. This cyan isn't once again cyan. I still need to change a bunch of things here. But anyway, you get the idea. You can configure it like this. Then here's like you can set these tags. These are the workspaces, so you can set how many workspaces are like exist. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, so on. And then you can go down here. You can see there's some rules. So I said there's some default ones here, but I set it all to null. I don't want any window rules. But basically, this is where you would set, any special window rules for individual windows. So if you want like a individual window open as floating window, or you want it to open a particular workspace or something like that, then you would configure that here. So I have, class, instance, title, basically this stuff where you set, what the window is. And then there's like tags. So the tags are what means workspaces in DWM. So you could change that to be something. Then you can do or text mask in this case, but that's basically where it puts it to. Then is floating, you can define if it's floating or not, and so on. You get the idea. Then layouts, this is just, well, yeah, size of things and number of clients. So, you could, oh yeah, this is basically how you, by default, have the master layout. So if I did choose a layout, but if I use like the tiling layout, it will go like this. You can see like, this takes up a bit more than half the screen. So basically that changes how much of screen this takes. And then there's also like the number of clients master error. So you could set this master error to have like multiple clients. If I want to have like 2 windows here, I could set that to 2 as well. And I could also say to like submit like resizing. So basically, like some terminals, might want to open up like smaller windows because of line sizes. So you might have like empty space in between windows if you use time layout. And if you want that, then you can set 1, but I don't want that stuff, so I say 0. So that's how that works. And then there's a bit other stuff. So this is something like this is a custom patch. I will discuss a patch later down the line. But this is a patch to set a new layout, which is actually registered by default. It's G in here. Here you set your layouts. Now by default, it's this T at top, then it's M, and then it's F, which is floating. I have set to gapless squared, tile, and monocle. Then you can set, like your mod key here, like, what's your actual mod key and what it does. I have set to mod 4. You can see it here. And then you can also like define, well, like a bunch of stuff. I don't know, I haven't messed with this stuff, but I think this is like changing a bunch of, I think this is controlling, like how you actually change your move around like your workspaces. So basically this sets, just mod key is your workspaces. And then if you do control, it will bring the new one into view as well. Then it will, the shift thing. This is not a cool feature. I'll discuss later online. But shift thing, that means it actually moves the windows that tag. So This just configures how the window matcher acts about the actual workspace movement, I think. I'm not sure, but I think that's what it does. I haven't messed with it because the defaults are solid for me. This is just something I'm not sure what this actually does. I haven't looked into this. I think it's setting, like if you want to do so I'm not sure. I haven't actually. I don't know. Actually, I think it might, be setting like these like commands here and this stuff to work. Yeah, I think it's like setting that this stuff actually, like these commands that are down here and stuff, actually do anything. Then you can see there's most commands to find here. I have, there's a menu command. I have changed it to batch once again, changed it for the Discord desktop, and this is the default thing. This is I have like power menu customly again. The command I have set up on my system. I had changed this power menu to actually my root, or my not root, but like my user bin directory, because doing from a local bin directory wouldn't work here, which is weird. But that's what I had to do. But after I did that, it would work. So that's something if you actually have to have like as an executable. Then this is my gnome screenshot. You see it has a bit of strange layout to it, and then there's xterm. So I have set my terminal here. By default, it's ST. You might want to just whatever you use. Then here's my key bindings. So I'm going to mess with those, and here's my mouse bindings. So yeah, let's discuss how this config acts a bit. So firstly, there's a bunch of patches I have. So I guess I can learn memory space and stuff, but basically I have a bunch of patches. So for the soundtrack directory for this, so if I go to, I'm just going to Dallas, I'm not going to look at the patches, but once again, go to Purge. This time it's called the patches. Then it's called this DWM directory, and you can see already it's like showing them. So we have this one called actual full screen. So basically, if I click in my config super NE, it will actually make things full screen like this. So it's just like a very convenient way to make a window full screen properly. Is it there by stock? Need it. Also a fancy bar. So by default, what the DWM will do is it will only show like the active window title on the menu bar, like here. It will only show like one thing in here, like Spectre WM does. But you can see by config it's just multiple because I have that patch. Then I'll link out patches down below in the description, by the way. There's this one called gapless grid. I have grid here, but it's actually called gapless grid or whatever. That's the layout I have. So by default, there's floating layout, which makes all windows floating. But then there's, like this. There's styling. This styling is first default. So this is what will usually happen when you open the window matcher. Basically, the way this works is master and stack layout like this. That's normal default. But then there's also something called Monocle. So this is basically a full screening queue tile. So, like I have multiple windows, it's kind of act like this. So I put them behind it, sir. Then there's Chi. This is the one I got from the gapless grid. And I have as the default in my config because I like it. It's like the layout I use in Qtile mostly. So, it's a grid kind of layout. You can see it up as a grid. I like this layout more than others, but yeah. That's how that works. Then there's this one called layout scroll. I don't know why. I think it's just basically I'll ask this again. You can see that shit out this properly, but this layout scroll thing basically means I can like scrub between all of my layouts in a row like this, like I like to do with one like hotkey. By default, you cannot do that. You can only like go between your last two, and also you cannot and besides you have to like use a separate key binding to pick every kind of layout. I don't like that. I like something. I don't use too many, so I like to just do it manually like this with one key and rotate it. That's how I like to do it. So I got this patch to allow me to set my key bindings to work like that. So that's what these do. They do their workflow. I'll link these ones below. Actually, I think I'm config. They are all linked in my config in GitHub. So I no need for me to mention it separately. But yeah, that's fine. And beyond that, the windowing is quite fun. There's a lot of useful stuff here. So you can see like let's split a few windows. So to begin with, let's open a bunch of stuff on here. So we'll open HStop here. We'll open let's do NeoFetch here. Then we'll run, let's see, what do you want to run here? Nano, I guess. I don't have Nano installed with Vim. Let's go with Vim. Then let's go with typical top. And then what they want to go. Actually, let's have it. No, let's not have an empty terminal. What should I have here? Do I have anything fun in my system? Okay, I'm not sure. I'm just going to leave it to be. But you can see I have a bunch of different windows here. So let's begin. So to be, if you can see there's a master window here. This one at top. So I can go to like counter window. I can click P. It will move that window to the that was selected to that, like top or the master window place. So I can select anything really. I can select this one. Let's say I want to do that. I can do that. I can put that there, so on. So I can use super imping my config to do that. Then there's also this, which means I can move to previous workspace, by the way. It's that way, I guess. Then actually, let me pull up my config on. Wait, why is this so small? Oh god. Did they open an extra one or something? What's up with this? Oh yeah, that's my new fetch window. Okay, let's find my empty one. Here we go. So in here, I'll actually go back to the config. Let's see, because I don't remember everything exactly right now, but yes, I have that. Then I have, let's see, is there anything else that's useful? Yes, I have my command Q command, or my mod key K and J to control windows, but all cool other stuff too. So let's say I want to change my like master size. So I can go to mod key and okay, I guess let's work at this layout, question mark. Okay, so let's change my layout to tiling. Here I can do this with mod L and mod H. I guess it makes sense it's working grid because grid, it's a grid. But it has been super useful when I'm using tiling layout to be able to move things around like this. Then I have only used this yesterday, so I have a bunch of getting used to my key bindings and stuff still, but it's cool. Yeah, there's also super MB, so I'm having a bar. That's the default. Well, by default the body key is alt, but I say super. Then there's also this ultra cool one. So space, shift, and JNK. Once again, I have to be in tiling layout to actually do that. Oh god, I'm messing up. Anyway, shift, mod, and JNK. You can add like you can move windows to the master space. So you can see I'm actually moving windows to this right side from the left side, like this on the master and stack layout or normal tiling layout. So that's for the shift and chain. So that's when I want to use the tiling layout, that's a really cool feature to have. And I'm going to go back to grid. That's what I use typically. The tiler one is more of a special use case one. Like, sure, I like windows being equally sized, but sometimes like I want to have like a really big thing where I'm like where I have like a long document, and then I have another thing where I have a small document, and then more small documents. Then I might want this tiling layout. So it all comes down to tile things. But yeah, I usually use the grid layout, but this stuff is there to help me functionality when I'm using tiling layout. So yeah, I haven't got to use it too much yet, but it's very useful when I do. And I still love the Super E, by the way. This, like, being able to go full screen on stuff, it's great. The Spectre WM has similar feature, I really liked it. Now, release a patch, of course, but it's something you can get, and it's cool. Then there's, yeah, once again, zoom feature, which, changing the positions. I already mentioned that. Well, you can kill your clients, of course. You can toggle floating. So now if I want to make something floating, let's say I want to make this neofetch window floating, I can do super and F. And as you can see, it has moved, but you can see the rest of Windows actually move to like separate into 4 pieces instead. And then I can also make it not floating again with the same key binding. So that's something useful. Once again, I have changed also my workspace going key bindings here. And you can see you don't configure like the moving Windows workspace here. That's in section above. Then there's like my also like the shifts as the parts that on this here, and not on here. I body shift Q, which DWM altogether. Then I have logs out. Then I have the full screen thing, which I mentioned. layout scroll. I have mentioned that, and then there's also my custom screenshot command. Then there's like my super and escape, so I can open D menu that way with my J4D menu thing. Because by default, D menu is just all of your goddamn useless damn like terminal commands. I don't need that stuff. But you can use J4D menu to only show like your desktop files or so in your apps. I have configured or changed the configuration of J4D menu a bit in the source code of that because it needs I could get to match my theme otherwise, but I have mentioned those in my Spectre WM config, so those are also linked in my DWM config, so you can stop it up by DWM config and find what I did there, and you can modify it as you want when you actually execute it on your own D menu to match your own config and stuff, or J4D menu. Anyway, it's really useful. J4D menu is really useful. It actually makes D menu usable, because D menu does not work for apps otherwise. I mean, I guess I could make another thing, but like, I can just go ahead and use J4D menu and it does the thing for me. Then there's this power menu thing. It's a script. I have this one available as well. I have one. I think this is also linked. Actually, no, I don't think this is linked in my config. But that's part of the reboot. This is also Spectre. This is also my Spectre WM config. I'll link this in the description again. Or the script that inspired me to do it. I haven't actually uploaded this one anywhere, but there's like a forum thread that had basically the skeleton for this, so I'll link that thread in the description again, so it can be found. And then yeah, I have my terminal opening command. Anyways, key bindings. So let's actually go through some of the workspace stuff. So you guys have actually let's just let's say moving workspaces. So let's say I want to move my new fetch window to third workspace. I can do mod shift and 3 and it will move there. But there's also a cool feature here. I can do mod control and 3. It will bring that right back here. It will show it again. But actually it hasn't moved it here. It just simply, you can see here, it simply shows me 2 workspaces. This is super cool. I can show multi workspaces. I really like it. I just temporarily show like other workspace and it will and then bring it right back. It doesn't make much of a difference with like one window at the workspace, but I have like a huge amount of windows. It means I can suddenly show all of them at one workspace, like all at once. And I can split them back without, actually like moving them one by one. It's really good. There's also control shift stuff. Basically, what that will do is it will basically make this like a window that you're on show up on like a different workspace as well. So if you want to let's say I'm already on this workspace. Now I moved it back to one, I guess. But if I'm already like a workspace, the window, I can actually like make the window show on a different workspace from that workspace. Another really cool thing, and that's not config by the way, so cool stuff. There's some interesting things you can do with it. Stuff, I mean, I might need to implement this in Qtile as well, so I look at that as well, because this is really cool stuff, and if I can implement it in Qtile as well, I really would like to, because it's really cool stuff. And I really love this kind of stuff where I can, it's really cool to just, slightly show everything, an entire outline of your workflow. And by the way, you can't, just show everything at once. So that is... Okay, I'm still recording, good. But you can't show, everything like at once, so all workspace at once and stuff, so that's really cool. And well, let's just close this window up. I have covered my workspace stuff now. So now let's just go into the taskbar. So this stock stuff has the workspace number. This shows your layout, as I said before. And here's, of course, I took this patch I mentioned before. And this here, this a bit different. So by default, you simply display like text, DWM. I have used something called SL status. It's not a thing you will have to compile manually. But I have, basically, I have a like this, and then there's a config H file here again. And you can see, you can scan set things here, so you can set like your locations of your things and stuff. And yeah. But basically what it does is it shows you, it like asks DWM to, it's just like a variable to, I don't know what the variable is called, but it's the variable that allows DWM to a DWM shows, and it puts it there. So you can see like, I showing network stuff and so on. So as I said, it's a cool app. You'll have to get separate app to actually configure this part. But as I said, it's a cool one. Yeah. In any case, that covers most of like the actual functions of my config and what those are. But what are my thoughts overall? Like, what do I like about it? What do I not like about it? Like, what is it like? So as I was saying before, like, it is a bit of pain to like configure because I have to compile the thing every single time, and that sucks. I really don't like compiling things every time. However, it's not that bad. It compiles really, really quickly, and because I'm on Gen 2, it's a single command. I don't have to do like, I mean, it's a single command anyway, but it's a simple single command. And it aligns with everything else I know. It has a package manager, so it's simple, easy to remember. And another thing is, I don't need to like manage an entire DWM directory. I can just have this one file and do the right thing, and all that, and purge handle everything with the use exit. And of course, it also means that my package manager has access to it. I could delete my package manager if you wanted to. I can update my package manager. I can do everything that needs to be done is done by my package manager. It's super useful to have that. So I really like Gentoo here. I like Portage and the way it handles DWM. However, as mentioned, this source-based nature, this source-only nature, means it's very small, very, not much chance for like secret loopholes. It's lightweight. It's just, it's the kind of thing I like to do with my stuff generally. Although I do have a ton of different window matchers, but I like the idea of being lightweight anyway. And also, just, it makes it easy to read source code yourself too. And beyond that, being small with source code and stuff means, or not being small, sorry, being able to configure it as source code means you have a ton of customization. The config part doesn't do that much, but you can always also dive into other files, which I haven't done yet. But you can get patches as well, and patches can add a ton of functionality. There's all the stuff I don't like by default, but I was able to change like almost all of that by using patches. So that's great. And the patches, you put them in the directory and compile the thing, and you auto apply them, so it's very simple. I'll go change to it's a different directory, but anyway, it's a very simple thing. It's really nice to be able to configure this stuff. It means that I can really make things where I can like the functions with the patches, the fact I can change the entire behavior like that. It's so nice being able to do that. I really like control here. And although I haven't experimented with too much yet, I do intend to experiment more. I've only used this for 2 days. For now, I had to be setting up, the kind of thing I want. But I know some C, so I could look into it. I don't really know any Xorg libraries and stuff at all in C, or any language, so it's going to be complicated messing with that, but I think it's going to be useful to actually look at source code and to learn how this stuff works and maybe change something useful about it because, yeah. Anyway, I'm not sure what I would want more from it, but anyway. Moving forward from that, I really like that, and another thing I like is, the overall, like, many of the just default functions, once again, I mentioned, like, the fact that I can show multiple workspaces is, like, the best thing ever. I love it so much, and I really like it, and so on. I haven't talked about that really, so I'll just go on to my negatives. Beyond, like, completion thing, there really isn't much of anything usability-wise. It works so well. It works, like, it's really polished. It works really, really well. I really don't have complaints in terms of that stuff. What I do have complaints with is goddamn documentation. It's quite lacking, in my opinion. Like, for DWM itself, it isn't that bad. For most things, like, you have basic mentions of what, like, the, how to config things, but it doesn't actually tell you that much about what the config things do. Like, in, like, Icewind Matcher or, like, Qtile and stuff, they tell you what every single damn thing does in the config files. It's, like, that stuff is it's just way better. Like, in Spectre WM kind of outlines what everything does. This one is worse. Like, it only outlines, like, the very like very few things. It kind of expects you to figure everything else out yourself. Not to mention some things that are not there in the file by default, and it's not that good. I mean, I know it's intended for like advanced users, but like still, have good document. That's not an excuse to not have advanced documentation. So have better documentation, more thorough documentation. It's lacking in my opinion. And why DWM isn't great, like SL stage is a complete disaster. There's like zero documentation for SL stages whatsoever anywhere. Like their page there's like zero documentation, zero guidance on what to actually do with it. There is like a bit of like comments like outlining the basic formatting of things, but it still doesn't outline by itself. Like there's some like you need to like present S, which is normal in C, but you have to do it in a way that's not normal in C. In the SSH config file, like normally you would, like put like you would put like a variable name or like something, or what you would do is you would put like a present S and then you would, I guess it's normal C, but like it's not really mentioned that you need to do it in like a printf way, because it works like a C printf, so you need to put in like actually let's open it up. So SL status and then config dot. So I guess it's using a basic printf thing. So you just kind of set an address that's here, and then you kind of set what the contents of that are here, or the argument here, but it doesn't work the normal way. This is like it's assuming certain behavior, and it's a weird basically it's a weird inconsistent implementation of like an in between of like whatever this is. It's like a weird version of printf that doesn't really follow proper normal printf. Like you can still put normal string stuff here for some reason, and then you can put like arguments. It's strange stuff. It's not the normal way printf works. But it's still kind of for us a printf kind of thing to press S. But the thing is, it doesn't mention any of that here. It doesn't say you have to use this formatting. I mean, sure, it's just like, yeah, put your function there, put your description, or like put your argument next to it. Yeah, it shows you about general layout, but it doesn't tell you what to use for the format anywhere, and there's no documentation elsewhere. And also, like, it tells you, like, find, like, like, format string, but it doesn't, in, like, then time, but it doesn't tell you, what format to use, although it's obvious it's going to be the usual, like, in my case, CTM, so on. And it also, like, tells you to, find, like, your, where is it? Like, here, your temperatures are, like, sensitive, but it doesn't tell you where it is. Like, it gives, like, one potential, but it really doesn't guide properly. So, as a status documentation, absolutely horrible. Like, absolutely awful. But I was able to figure it out thanks to online threads and stuff. It took, or a YouTube video actually, but I think it's Wintle Outlaw who did it. Anyway, some useful stuff, but yeah, it's documentation is lackluster. It's not good. That's one thing I really wish was worked on better. Like it's lackluster. Maybe I see if there's possible for like somebody like me to contribute to it, because I think I have stuff I could actually improve upon. Then again, I'm not sure if this aligns with their ideals and ideology, because like this other point of partially praise, partially complaints for them. Like the ideal is partially good. Like the idea of making small software, like making software that's bug free, easy to maintain stuff. That's all great. Like I really like that ideal. Like it's really like kind of thing I like to support. But in their site, actually, let's open it up. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So because the DWM is customized already in source code, it's supposed to make better practice of it. That's normal. This case is more elitist. Without just specifications, there are some differences for better practices. I don't know if this sounds like some like sarcasm. It isn't. It's serious, but it sounds like joke to me. Like the fact you're calling yourself elitist, it's like why are you insulting yourself? Like elitism isn't a good thing. It's like a bad thing. Like you're saying, not just like we are targeting like advanced users, and we are providing more freedom and more customization and sacrifice user friendly. No, it's like let's keep new users out. Let's keep people who might want to try out of our software. Like this is just complete opposition of what Linux is about and what open source is about. Why are you trying to be elitist? Why are you trying to, keep people out. We're trying to create create this toxic. That's what atheism is. Atheism is toxic thing. It's it's not good. It's not something you want. It's just it's just toxic behavior, frankly. And I don't know why they're encouraging it. Like it's the I seriously can't fathom why this is the case. This is so damn dumb, in my opinion. Like, why the hell would you promote something like this? Why do you want atheism? It's the last thing you would want in anywhere. You don't want atheism. You want people to come and use your software if they see it's fit. You don't want a bunch of people treating themselves being superior and keeping everybody else out from it. You don't need gatekeeping in your software for it to be a good piece of software and, for it to be small, and none of that stuff contributes to any of that. You're just, basically it's just like basically saying we want a bad community. Why? What are my conclusions then? I do disagree with the ideal a bit, but beyond that, I think it's a great window manager, and I think it works very, very well. No, by stock, it's not that great. I mean, it's not bad. I would still like it, but it's the fact that there's also like a bit of bitter in the stock configuration, like the status bar thing, the grid I need some new layouts because stock doesn't have many, stuff like that. But you can add in patches. You can add a ton of patches. There's like an absolute ton of them. So if you want to do something, there's a very good tester patch for it, and you can of course always make your own patches. So go right on ahead. Feel free to look at the well, feel free to go on right ahead to add these patches in. Not too many, probably. It's pretty good because problems if you have like 100 patches, it's probably going to, or 10 patches, it's probably going to start breaking things. But and I know some patches break each other. For instance, the fact that I have multiple bars, the fact that I have multiple window things. This completely broke if I added in another, or it prevented the thing from compiling if I added in a patch to put the title at center. So on the status bar. So just something taken out of know what patch you're adding in. But you can add patches, you can basically make it exactly what you want. There's so much freedom there. And it works so well. I don't have complaints usability-wise. It's absolutely amazing. The compilation thing is a bit of an inconvenience, and the documentation should be better by all accounts. I really don't get why they are. It just should be better. I think that needs work. I mean, I guess their elitist, idea, wanting to keep an user base means they don't want to have good documentation because they would join people who could, are novices and, could potentially learn how to use their window matcher by using documentation that's actually decent, so they make shitty documentation to keep all the novices out. I don't know. But, yeah, it's not good documentation. While I like the idea of making a small maintainable thing, I really, really dislike this whole elitism thing. I don't know why they're pushing it. I don't care why they're pushing it. I don't think they should. I disagree with it strongly. And that's that. Regardless, if you want the window manager to work small, you want a small, you don't mind the configuration thing. Even if you do, try it out. But if you don't mind it, and if you try it out, you decide it's fine, then I would recommend this window matcher. It's absolutely amazing. It's a really good window matcher. I really like it, and I'm going to keep using it probably for a while. It might take over Qtile as my favorite window manager. It's really, really good. And also, it handles game launchers way better than Qtile. Qtile first, the full screen things don't really work with layouts. Or that's the look features, and can break the UI. But this window manager only opens them normally. It always game launchers normally. It's so good,